to amaze me how a lot of this does play out there, and which leads to a lot of misconceptions, a lot of misunderstandings, because it is playing out on Twitter instead of these official lines. So we'll monitor this because I know a lot of people are very concerned. Nahal Tuesday, Foreign Affairs Correspondent at Politico. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good day.
We're going to touch a little bit on the big event that happened over the weekend, Game of Thrones, the finale. They set an all-time record for HBO, the ratings. They drew in 13.6 million viewers for the initial airing of the series finale, but you added replays, you added early streaming numbers, and that figure climbs to 19.3 million. They're records for Game of Thrones and for HBO also. I mean, it was a huge cultural event, almost. We're not going to talk about what happened in the show specifically. There was some more flubs, there were some water bottles, people weren't happy with the way it ended, you know, there was petitions for rewrites for the season. That's for fans of the show. The broader implications are really how TV has changed. Everybody's signaling that this could be the end of appointment TV. This is the last blockbuster TV show of our lifetime. That whole notion of water cooler talk. This is something that everybody watched, and the next morning they were all talking about it at work. So let's start off with kind of a definition of what is appointment TV, Brandon.
Appointment TV is just TV shows and programming that you schedule your life around. It doesn't have to be these big, grandiose dramas like Game of Thrones. It can be things like, you know, Seinfeld and Friends. They've been saying that the death of appointment TV is going to happen since 1999 when TiVo first came around, and it made it so easy to record your shows, fast forward the commercials, or watch them later. So this isn't a new concept. It's whatever's going to happen next is the death of appointment TV. They said the same thing when Netflix started streaming TV shows and Amazon Prime and all that stuff started happening.
Part of it is also that you do have to set your life around the shows and make the time to watch it. Part of it is now with the way we consume it and have social media and everything is the spoilers.
Right.
If you don't watch something like a Game of Thrones on the night of, by the next morning it's hitting all the news, it's hitting your social streams, your friend text chains are talking about it.
I know you had to put your phone away during Game of Thrones on Sunday night.
I went to a screening, like a little tiny theater house. It was super cool, but we're in the West Coast. We had to see it at West Coast time at 9 p.m. So for 3 hours, I had to put my phone away so that you couldn't see any spoilers. But this is all kind of what factors in now to this appointment TV. Back in the day, there were no spoilers like that. And now, if you're not watching it right when something is airing, something as big as like a Game of Thrones or a Breaking Bad, even when it was going, you run that risk of spoiling everything.
And that's what they're saying is significant about Game of Thrones. It launched the same year as Twitter. So people have grown up with this show in an era where live tweeting is common. So you don't necessarily have to do a big watch party with your friends and your family or whatever. You can live watch it with thousands of fans on Twitter and have in-time discussions about what's happening, what did you just see, oh, did you notice that kind of stuff. So analysts are saying that it's possible that Game of Thrones, if it were to premiere today, wouldn't have the same cultural impact that it had because of just the timing of it, really lightning in a bottle.
Yes, I mean, do I think it is the end of appointment TV now that Game of Thrones is gone? No. I think there will be some other show that will capture the big cultural interest of a lot of people, and people will want to watch it together and get those watch parties going, but the way we consume stuff is different now. You know, as a Netflix or a Hulu, these streaming services, they release seasons as a whole. It's a whole 10 episodes. So you don't get that incremental weekly build-up, that excitement.
But then you have the 2 weeks where everyone's talking about Stranger Things or Dead to Me, and then it's done. I was in the hair salon on Friday covering my ears because people were talking about that Dead to Me show, and I haven't seen it yet.
That's part of this appointment TV thing. It's changing things, whereas week-to-week incrementalism, you'll watch a show on the streamers, it's a flash in the pan, and you never know when someone else is watching it. Think of the conversations you have. Did you see that Game of Thrones episode last night versus, have you seen Dead to Me?
Or where are you in Dead to Me?
Or where are you?
What just happened?
You never know. You're not watching it in tandem with people a lot of times, or you're just recapping a whole season of something to somebody. The streamers are probably going to have to adjust what they do. There's
no reason why Netflix can't drop an episode of Stranger Things over the course of 12 weeks as opposed to one big, you know, it takes you a whole weekend to watch, but you're done with it, and then it's out of your mind for another 3 years.
People just watch stuff differently. Think about also, you go home and sometimes you're just not in the mood to pick up a new show or to watch something that's going to be involved with a lot of story elements like a Game of Thrones. You just want to watch something silly and something that you know. That's why we go back to it all the time. But The Office is the #1 streamer for Netflix. It's going to be interesting to see what that next big show will